Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. An analyst has stated that he believes that XRP is in what he called the 10x sweet spot, as in current price of XRP, multiply that times 10, and that's what he's expecting. And crypto media picked up on that. Now, look, I appreciate the positive sentiment, the positive outlook, especially in times like these. It's, somewhat rare compared to, the positivity that we saw about a year and a half ago. But if you're talking about a 10x from the price of XRP where it's at now at about 38 cents, you're talking about XRP just making it back to its all-time high from the beginning of 2018, almost 5 years ago. So, again, appreciate the positivity, but upon reviewing this information, I thought, okay, nice, but this is the understatement of the century. When bull markets come back, my gosh, XRP is still going to melt faces. I firmly believe that. Like the idea, and I was talking about this the other day, but the idea of cryptocurrencies trading range bounds for years, half a decade or longer, is normal. Even if you look at the short history of XRP, my God, it took it about 5 years to go from its initial trading price of somewhere in the neighborhood of half a penny, sometimes a bit less than, a lot less than that actually. It took about 5 years to then run up to almost $4. So the fact that it's been close to 5 years since we last saw an all-time high, it's not like this is weird or anything. And it's extra not weird given what happened with FTX. But either way, look, we're going to be finding a bottom soon. I've got an article I want to share with you. There's one of the world's most popular on-chain analysts talking about the bottoming. And there was also this article I want to share with you just for fun, because this type of stuff, I always find it interesting. I can't be the only one, but here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. 420 Bitcoin trading at $15 in 2012 on move after 10 years. Yes, indeed, folks. Dormant Bitcoin for a decade, now on the move. I'll share with you what I know. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Markets, considering it's supposed to be the end of the world right now, complete Armageddon, not too shabby. Bitcoin's hovering right around $17,000. XRP a hair shy 39 cents. I'll take it, all things considered, But, my eyes are really focused on the future, the long term. And that's really always been my stance. Even when I jumped into crypto in 2017, and of course, bear market ensued shortly after I jumped in. Even at that point, I was still thinking long term. I was like, well, yeah, but because I understood market cycles in terms of historically how humans behave in the stock market. I was like, well, it's the same human DNA, which means it's going to be the same idiot decisions we made in terms of selling in panic and buying and FOMOing in, buying tops of markets. It's the same human behavior. It's just much more exaggerated in terms of volatility and price action, because there's a frenzy around this, and there's so little money in crypto. It just doesn't take much money coming in to get just extreme volatility, get this big multiplier effect as prices get bid up. But look at this headline from you today. XRP Cardano. Long-term opportunities are back, crypto influencer predicts. Founder of crypto capital ventures Dan Gambardello predicts a return of long-term opportunities to cryptocurrencies despite the bearish conditions that have been in place since the start of 2022. And here's a tweet from him December 1st. Crypto is back at what I call the 10x sweet spot. This is when macro 10x opportunities once again abound. More downside is in play, but long-term opportunities have returned. So I'll just say this. I don't want to be overly critical here. Again, I appreciate the positive sentiment. And in terms of a general concept, I actually do agree. And he does have hashtag Bitcoin, hashtag Cardano, and hashtag XRP. It's not like all of them are going to do exactly 10x. If he's just speaking in generalities, this is the general concept, then I'm pretty much 100% on board. Because, my gosh, this is where everybody's too afraid to buy. So I'm not telling you listening to this to do anything. I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold, do whatever you want. But my firm belief is that the people that are making the decision to buy when others are too fearful, they're the ones that are going to make reap the benefits, the greatest benefits, when markets rebound. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's a virtual certainty. So again, though, when you're talking about XRP, my God, 10x from XRP, that puts it back at its all-time high. And I'm just like, does anybody believe that the all-time high we saw of XRP in early 2018, that was it? We'll never see another all-time high again, or if we do, it'll just match it, and then it's just done, and it doesn't ever do anything? Or is it more likely that what we've been seeing play out in terms of XRP's price action for a decade now will just persist, which is that it traded mostly sideways for half a decade, ran up to a new all-time high, and is now just range-bound and still wildly volatile. Obviously, I recognize went down to 11 cents, up to $2, back down and up and down and up and down like a yo-yo, got it. But still, that's range-bound activity, and I suspect if you fast forward a couple decades, assuming XRP is still around, and I have confidence that it will be as long as it continues to be adopted, if you zoom out on a chart, all this volatility, which is extreme to us, from half a penny to $4, down 11 cents and $2 and everything in between. If you zoom out based on future price action, assuming XRP continues to get adopted and the crypto pie grows, you're not even going to be able to see that on a chart. You'd have to zoom in specifically to that time frame in order to see how ridiculously volatile it is, but it's going to look like a blip. Just like just like you see every market cycle. I mean, if you looked in 2017 how big the Bitcoin all-time high looked as it ramped up, because what was it at the beginning of 2017? Wasn't Bitcoin, like, if I'm not mistaken, around 1,000 and then ran up to like 20 grand? Massive spike to the upside, and of course it was a bubble and it popped, yada yada. But then when it ran to 70,000, that didn't look so big. If you look at a chart comparatively, it's like, But that's what I'm anticipating is going to happen. So again, I appreciate the optimism here, but my gosh, XRP is going to be worth a freaking fortune so far as I'm concerned, which is why I patiently wait, because I don't get to choose when this stuff happens, but I understand that the people that make money investing in stocks and crypto are the ones that just hold regardless. I think that there's sufficient data to indicate that's true, which isn't to say there's no risk. Obviously, there are rug pulls, and you get a bad technology and find holes in technology and get hacked, and then people no longer support coins. Like, stuff happens. I get it. But XRP's been attacked for a decade now, and it just keeps on a turn. So like the more it's attacked, the longer it exists, the more confident I am, especially when you look at how it's actually being adopted in the real world. Now take a look at this from the Daily Hodl. Top on-chain analyst Willy Woo says Bitcoin mirroring 2015 and 2018 bottom formation. Here's his forecast. And Willy Woo, by the way, has over 1 million followers all up on Twitter. He is one of the most popular on-chain analysts in the world of crypto. He does seem to be a bit of a maxi, but what can I say, man? It's just like, we're in a world where there's a lot of maxis. It's not that they're wrong about everything. It's just that they're in this echo chamber and they say a bunch of nonsense stuff. And then eventually it just seems normal to them. It's just because in their world, that's what people believe. So I try and block that stuff out. And I even listen to people that don't like XRP, and I think that the reasons are silly. As long as they're not toxic, I don't really mind it. If they just happen to not like it, I just think they're wrong, and that's fine. We can respectfully disagree. But my gosh, when you're talking about maximalism straight up, not a pretty color. Anyway. Top on-chain analyst Willy Woo says that Bitcoin is in an accumulation phase similar to the market bottoms of 2015 and 2018. In a new interview with Scott Melker, Woo says that buyers have recently stepped in to support Bitcoin, lowering its volatility and putting it in a sideways trend. He said, quote, "It's that time in the cycle really that the accumulation does come in, right? People buy, they put in a floor on the price, the volatility drops. And we saw that in the 2018 bottom. 2015 bottom. We even saw it in the 2012 bottom. So yeah, sure, people are holding the price up because they want Bitcoin," end quote. And of course, this isn't true just of Bitcoin. The market moves in tandem. So this would include XRP and frankly everything else, which is, by the way, again, looking back at the that tweet from Dan Gambardello, when he says that more downside is in play, but the long-term opportunities have returned. Yeah, well, I think more downside is likely in play. I don't know for sure. I don't pretend to. But after what happened with FTX, I think that the disaster is just going to spread, and we'll see a delay just like we saw after the Luna collapse, whether it's weeks or months or whatever. And if I'm wrong, great, that's fine. It's not like I want people to experience misery. I'm just telling you what I honestly suspect is more probable anyway. We'll see how it plays out. But even if so, again, the long-term opportunities are here. This is the sweet spot. Just like purchasing after the biggest bit of the collapse in 2018. If you bought in the second half of 2018, you're probably pretty happy if you held that through the mania of 2021. Anyway, piece continues. Wu says Bitcoin is showing resilience in the face of market headwinds, including crypto lending firm BlockFi's recent bankruptcy filing. And he said, quote, it's being absorbed. What was really interesting with the BlockFi bankruptcy, we saw a sort of pullback. It went down beforehand. I kind of think that was inside sellers knowing that the announcement would happen. It went down $500 or something like that, and it got quickly absorbed. And then now we're breaking to the upside. So I think we've got a lot of buyers at this price. And then I'll just pause to note, I didn't even know that it briefly went down $500 because I remember checking price today, and when I made a video talking about the price action, I was like, yeah, I guess the market didn't respond. So if it went down, it must have been like very, very, very briefly because the market just rallied. And so it looked to me, and I still think this is true, that that bad news, I think it was pretty well priced in. So even if there were some inside sellers doing whatever they're doing, fine. Well, not actually fine, but acknowledging that may be the case. Setting that aside, still, it seemed to be a known factor for a couple weeks that BlockFi was probably going to go belly up. So once it happened, I think the market was just like, yeah, okay, and anyway, his quote continues. Certainly, the indicators I have are showing when you see a lot of coins moving and the price going sideways, that's a sure sign of accumulation. So that's been happening. I'm tracking it. That's the reason why it's going sideways, end quote. So what do you know? Despite no shortage of fear out there, the typical retail speculator is in extreme fear, in fact. There's always going to be those people, and I consider myself part of this camp, that see the opportunity in times like this. Doesn't mean that we want people to be emotionally in pain or go through actual financial hardship. None of that. I'm just saying, if it's going to happen, I'm going to bet accordingly. That's it. And he does go on to note that he thinks that there's a real probability that Bitcoin hasn't seen its low, and he's one of the people who's talking about perhaps even as low as like $10,000 to $12,000. You know, and maybe it would bottom like 14,000. He says also, but you know, in particular with all this FTX stuff, I don't know. I've been upfront about this. I've got a bunch of capital on the sidelines. If things get worse, I will deploy it. If they don't get worse, then I'll just be fortunate. I'll be thankful that I was able to purchase a couple larger orders of a couple different cryptocurrencies after the collapse happened. So it is what it is. It's just, that's the way I look at it. And it's just like, there are some people out there so negative, like, oh gosh, how can you be celebrating a time like this when people lost so and so? I'm like, bitch, shut the hell up. My net worth is down like an insane amount. I'm like, my net worth is substantially down. I'm harmed by this too. I'm just not going to go cry about it. That's all that it is. And I still think the industry is absolutely long-term viable. So I'm just putting my money where my mouth is. That's all that it is. And then there's this from the Crypto Basic: 420 Bitcoin trading at $15 in 2012 on the move after 10 years. A whale has moved up to 420 previously dormant Bitcoin tokens valued at $7.1 million against prevalent rates. Bitcoins have been unmoved since 2012 when Bitcoin traded below the $15 price point. After hodling through several price tops and bottoms for 10 years, the wallet has finally reawakened the assets. A few hours ago, verified CryptoQuant author and founder of Dive On Chain, Martin, first highlighted the development, and he said, quote, 10-year-old 400 Bitcoin moved today. Last time they moved was in 2012. So this is peculiar to me. Did somebody just recognize that they didn't for real super seriously lose the Bitcoin they thought they lost and now they're moving it? Is it something weird like that? Because I can understand somebody, especially if you're filthy rich, just sitting on and holding on, and even what it's worth today, maybe it's like nothing to you. But I'm still sitting here thinking, even if that's the case, why move it now if you're one of those types of people? Because it was just $70,000 roughly a year ago. Why not then? So did you just gain access to your account from a decade ago? Did you actually find the key? Like, I don't know. When stuff like this happens, it's increasingly rare at this point. It does happen from time to time, and I always like to highlight it when it happens because it's just so fascinating. I'm just sitting here like, what were you doing the last decade? Now, if this person actually had the fortitude to hodl for 10 years and had the key the whole time, good on them. I just got a question: if they're gonna sell it now, I don't know. If they do, though, Tifa? Like what? Like I don't even, I can't relate to that. But I mean, yeah, for real though. If the hodl game's strong in this one, if the key wasn't lost, but I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about that. You guys have to let me know what you think, but it just seems very peculiar that that they come out now. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a person that was previously rich, has hit extra hard times, and now even though Bitcoin's down and they didn't sell when it was almost $70,000, they need the extra 7 million or whatever it's worth today. Who knows? It's just weird seeing stuff like this. But I'll tell you this: if you fast forward another 5 years, another 10 years, you'll be seeing stories like this about XRP as well. I suspect, because I think XRP is going to be worth an absolute fortune. But I'll go ahead and wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.